Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of MovieKombat. We are live here on twitch.tv/Primal_Target. Also joined by chat in this right now. Foxy and Alana are joining us. We were just talking about a little bit of checking in with each other, and also our fantasy football. Alana is in the PTFL as well as I am, and I want to cry. So aside from that, this is the brand new episode. If you're watching on YouTube, you guys can go over to if you didn't know, you can go to YouTube and you can watch all of the past episodes that have happened already and be a part of that. So yeah, it is going to be a fun one, I guess. This one was different. Obviously, we've jumped back from Open Windows to now Creep is this episode. Episode 5. Yeah, 5 episodes we have gone down into, and we have 2 more movies after this, and then we're done. So we're getting there. But yeah, this is Creep. It was on Netflix. I believe Creep 2 is also on Netflix, which will be next week's movie. So if you're tuning in for that, don't worry, we will be watching Creep 2 as well. So, yes, this one was weird, but we're back to found footage. We're back to the traditional grab a camera and let's go. So, I just want to kick things off with the fact that we go through every single week. In each episode we have some sort of fun counting sort of thing. If you're new to it, in this season, we're counting how many times does the camera get used for sex, how many times does the camera change hands, how many times does the camera get dropped, and how many times does the footage get malfunctioned, and how many people die in this movie. We'll get into that as we move through the movie. And then at the very end, we'll have a Primal Target score, which will be from me, and then a PT Nation score, which will be given out to whoever has seen the movie over in chat. If you want to participate, make sure you tune in on Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on twitch.tv/Primal_Target. Okay, we're in it. We're doing it. We've done the whole rigmarole. Let's get into it. So, Creep. It was interesting. I found this movie years ago, so that's why I knew it was a found footage movie. It was when I was on my kick of watching as many found footage movies as I could. Now, I have not seen the sequel, which again will be next episode. So next episode will be a full-on dry run, but this one is very interesting. So, yeah, the movie opens up with a boring. What the heck? Yeah. Oh yeah. So I guess we'll ask, how many times does the camera get used for sex? Foxy counted 0, and I will tell you in here in just a moment. But yeah, the movie opens up with a camera guy, and he's driving up to this cabin at some lake, and the lake seems pretty reasonably crowded, like people live in this area, and he goes up to this cabin and meets this really creepy guy, hence the name, and yes, the guy is the creep. It doesn't really come off as like super I'm going to kill you vibes, just a guy that's kind of like trying to he has some sort of vendetta, but you don't know quite what it is yet. So the main guy, the camera guy, is talking with this dude. I don't know. I should probably get the names for him. Here, we'll bring up IMDb just as a to get character names in the motions of things, because I actually don't even know the actors really. I've seen the guy who plays the creepy guy in other things, but I can't remember what I've seen him in. So let's see. Yeah, there's only 3 actors in this movie. Wait, how do I know her? Do I know her from something? No. Okay. So we have Joseph and we have Aaron. Those are our 2 main characters. Aaron is a videographer. He was hired by Joseph, who is the guy that owns this cabin, to come in and film some stuff for him. Joseph then says, hey, I'm dying of cancer. My wife has a baby on the way. I kind of wanted to make this movie so that I could kind of like show, like, my wife can play this of who I was and whatever. So a little sentimental and a little bit of like, okay, yeah, I guess that's okay. But then it kicks off really weird because the first thing that Joseph has Aaron do is film him in a bathtub, butt ass naked, of this thing called tubby time. Was a thing that his dad used to do with him when he was a little baby, and he just is like together with him, and then it just gets really, really weird really fast, and you're kind of like, okay. And so after that weirdness, he's like, are you okay with, he goes, are you okay after we filmed all this? And the guy goes, Aaron goes, yeah, I guess. And so they decide to go for a hike because Joseph's like, hey, I want to show Buddy is his theoretical kid right now. So they go on a hike to go and find this pool that is in the shape of a heart that's like essentially carved out into the rocks. They go do that. They have this sort of bonding moment, and that kind of lowers the stakes of like, okay, maybe Joseph actually is trying to do something for his unborn kid Buddy for the future. And so Aaron starts to kind of get a little warmed up to the whole situation. And as they do, after the hike, they're like, oh, let's go get something to eat. And Joseph's like, yeah, this breakfast place has like the best pancakes. I used to I grew up around here and this and that. So Aaron's like, cool, great. So they go to this pancake place, and then the camera turns on, and it's them at this pancake place, and Joseph opens up the menu, and he goes, I wonder what they got good here. And Aaron's like, wait, I thought you said you grew up around here. And Joseph was like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the menu's changed and everything. And so that was one weird step back to trusting this guy. You're kind of like, I don't know. And then there's this weird confessional where Joseph asks Aaron to confess something. Aaron confesses something that's like when he was a kid. And then Joseph goes, I want to confess something. And then he shows pictures of when Aaron showed up to the cabin because he wasn't there to like greet him. He scared him when he went back to his car. So that was weird. Another step back, in my opinion. So after their breakfast, they are about to go back into the cabin, and Aaron's like, all right, the day's over because it's dark now, which is this scene right here. It's this exact scene. And Aaron's like, I'm done. Like, I kind of want to go home, so I'll just talk to you later. And Joseph's like, well, wait a minute. Like, come on inside because I have, I got scotch. Let's drink. Let's enjoy the night. We've worked all day. You just go back later. And Aaron's like, no, I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to go. Somehow he convinces him. So they go back into the house, into the cabin, and Aaron and Joseph are just talking back and forth. And Aaron gets to the point of like, all right, I'm done. Like I'm about to leave. Joseph goes, wait, I want to tell you something. So they go and sit back down, and Joseph starts confessing. He goes, turn the camera off, but the audio's still going. And so but he starts talking about how like, yeah, there's this other thing I forgot to mention. The Peach Fuzz mask, which is a wolf mask that looks horrendous. That was found in a closet while Aaron was trying to get a jacket. He opened up a closet, and there's a wolf mask sitting there staring right at him, freaks him out. And Joseph talks about how like, oh yeah, my dad wore that and he danced around and he made me think that it wasn't that scary and this. And so he's like, all right, fine, whatever. And then that's when they went on the hike after that, and they did the whole thing. So then we're back at the house, and Joseph goes, I'm going to tell you actually what the mask was for. So he talks about how his wife was like Googling animal porn and how she was like super into it. And one day he got that mask at like a dollar store, which okay, that mask did not cost $1. And then snuck in to the house and had his way with his wife with the mask on, like tied her up and like had his way with her, but she enjoyed it and he enjoyed it, and then he snuck back out the window, and then he came back home like the next day, and then came in and didn't bring it up, just asked his wife, "How was your weekend?" or "How was last night?" And she just responds with, "Oh, it was fine." So it doesn't admit to the fact of what happened. And he says essentially that he raped his wife and that he doesn't. Yeah, it's so weird. You don't see any of it, thank God. But yeah. So he's fine with knowing his wife was okay with being assaulted. Exactly. But it was him, because it was him doing it. But yeah, it's not like she technically didn't cheat, but she did. Kinda, because she didn't admit to the fact of what happened. It's so weird. It's so weird. What if it wasn't him? Exactly. That's why he kind of has this weird mentality of what it is. Yeah, exactly. He's a creep. Don't think he cares. Exactly. So after that weird confession, it cuts back to regular video, and Aaron is wanting to leave. Like, still. He's just wanting to get out of there. But before we go into that, let's check in with... let's go through two of them, since we're about halfway through the movie. The movie's actually relatively short. It's like an hour and change. So it's just a little above 90 minutes. Or a little above an hour. So, but anyway. So how many times does the camera get used for sex? 0, thank God. We didn't have to watch that scene. And then camera change. How many times the camera change? I counted. Okay, so once technically is what I kind of was finding. If you really want to cut the line, one time. I counted twice if you want to count the fact that we had footage of Joseph later, because there is a moment where Aaron and Joseph are not together, but Joseph is sending videos to Aaron, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But so I counted that, but technically there is a scene where he's also just filming it through his camera, so you could take that as the perspective of that it is a perspective of him, but in the beginning of that transition, it isn't actually like, we're not watching it through the camera, but later you get shown that it is technically through another camera. So I'm going to say 1 to 2. You can count 1 or 2, depending on how you want to look at it. So anyway, so then we'll go through the other two in just a moment here as we kind of move forward. So yeah, Aaron's trying to leave. He gets to trying to find his keys. His keys are not in his jacket pocket. Weird. So he's looking around, and they kind of have a little bit of an argument. And he goes, "Fine, you know what? Let's just, you know what? I'll stay, but let's drink." So Aaron pours the glasses of scotch, and he gives one to Joseph, and he takes one for himself. And then Joseph's like, "Huh, that's kind of weird. It tasted kind of weird." And Aaron's like, "Nah, mine didn't taste weird." But in the next couple scenes, Aaron's starting to get a little tired, and then he falls asleep and he passes out. And then he slowly strokes himself when he's unconscious, because he starts thinking about, peach fuzz. It's weird. You don't see that happen, but it is under the pants, and it's really weird. So anyway, Preacher, how's it going? Yeah. Oh, you're watching the Bills game? How did that... Let me know, I guess, how that goes, because I know it was a tie game 2020, but anyway, so yeah, we're now into this scene where Aaron is still awake, but Joseph is passed out. So he's like, "I got to get out of here." So he tries looking for the keys, but then all of a sudden, when he's trying to look for the keys, he tries to unzip Joseph's pocket, and the phone starts ringing, but it's Joseph's phone. So Aaron goes over, picks up the phone, and goes into the bathroom and gets on the phone. And this is the third other actor in this movie. There's only 3 actors in this movie. And it's a woman's voice. And he's like, "Oh." And she goes, yeah, who's this? He goes, this is Aaron. And he goes, who's this? And she goes, this is Angela, which is who Joseph said is his wife. So Aaron's like, okay, yeah, your husband hired me to come out here and film this thing and blah blah. And Angela's like, what are you talking about? And Aaron's like, wait, what? You don't know about this? Am I in danger? And Angela goes, you need to leave. You need to tell me where you're at. And he's like, I'm at your guys' cabin. And she goes, what? And Aaron's like, what? Wait a minute. You're telling me you guys don't have a cabin? And Angela goes, you need to leave. Just text me where you're at, and I will try to get you, out of there as fast as possible. But then he goes, what? Am I in danger? And then all of a sudden, connection starts to be lost, and then it hangs up. So Aaron's freaked out, and he tries to leave. And so as he walks out of the bathroom, he notices that Joseph is no longer laying down anymore. He's not in the room that he left him in. And so he goes outside because he sees the sliding glass door is slightly open. So Aaron goes out to see if Joseph's there, and he is. He goes, look, Joseph, it's fine. I know. Let's just move on. Let's just get out of there. Because Aaron's trying to essentially get out of the situation by calming him down to letting him go. Because we have no idea what Joseph's going to do to him. And so Joseph runs away out back in the house and goes and downstairs where we know that Peach Fuzz mask is at. So when Aaron goes downstairs, he sees Joseph is blocking the entrance door, the front door to the house, in the Peach Fuzz mask. And he's just standing there. And as he's about ready, Aaron just gives a full steam and runs at him, and then the camera cuts out. With that, we're going to jump back over to how many times do you think the camera gets dropped, and how many times does the footage get malfunctioned? How many times do you think that those things happen? So how many times it gets dropped, and how many times malfunction happens? So Foxy says none. I'm assuming for gets dropped. And then how many times do you think the malfunction happens? We'll say both of them. Because dropped, I counted one time. Just once. It happens one time, and it was during man, they run into each other. It only happens like one time. I think when they fought, I counted that because it technically gets dropped. Malfunction, I counted 3 times because of that moment also happens right there and then too. So, the video cuts out and then cuts back, and we see Joseph is now carrying up a hill 3 trash bags and then starts digging a hole. And so now we're like, okay, so Aaron's dead. Wait, I'm pretty sure I watched a how to beat video on this movie, so I basically watched it. I just don't remember that much. Okay, well, maybe I'll say some more, and you can say what you think happened, or maybe if you remember. So yeah, we're watching Joseph climb up this hill with 3 trash bags, and then we get essentially we get this weird cut to Aaron, and he's sitting there in his room talking about, so Joseph sent me this DVD, and we're like, oh, so he's not dead. So, that's basically how I watch horror movies. I just watch how to beat the videos. Well, there you go. That's a way to do it. So yeah. With that said, we are now in Aaron's house. Aaron then proceeds to get these weird dreams. He dreams about the heart-shaped pool of water that they went on a hike for, and it's a hot tub in his dream, he's sitting across from Joseph wearing the peach fuzz wolf mask, and he's there wearing a mask, but it's actually like a younger wolf mask. And then it gets really weird, and Aaron's like, all right, and yeah, so that's about it. And then he turns off the video. He turns off the camera. As we move forward, there is a box that's delivered, and the box contains another DVD, a locket in the shape of a heart with, if you open it, it's a picture of Joseph and Aaron, and a little wolf. And Joseph says there's something inside the wolf, which was the locket, which was the heart locket. So Aaron decides, all right, I'm calling the police at this point. So he calls the police. The police don't do anything because he's like, I don't know if his name is even Joseph. I found out that the cabin is actually a rental. It wasn't even Joseph's. He doesn't know how to get a hold of him. He doesn't know where. And so the police were like, we can't do anything. Sorry. Figure it out yourself. So the next night, Aaron wakes up and he's recording a POV of him talking to the camera. So not a POV. He's just recording. The camera is facing him and he's just talking to the camera. As Aaron is talking, you hear this, and you're like, and he's in his bed. He's like in his bed, just looking at the camera. So he gets up and he grabs the knife that was given to him actually in the box as well. And he starts walking around the house. And as Aaron walks around, he walks around a corner and you don't see Aaron anymore. But at the front door is Joseph. Joseph's at his front door. And Aaron decides to go back to his room and he picks up the camera and he walks around. And then he goes outside and he sees that there's a trash bin knocked over. So he thinks that it was raccoons. So he goes back inside. He goes to sleep. Camera turns back on. And it's Aaron sleeping. Joseph is the one filming, that we can presume. He then cuts his hair. He cuts a piece of Aaron's hair, like the Midnight Baba, and he puts it, he keeps it, and he walks it, and then it cuts away. Now we have a new tape that was left for Aaron in his windowsill, and so Aaron plays the tape. It's Joseph. He's talking about like, hey, I'm going to be at this park, at this lake at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Come meet me. Let's get this thing squared away. If you say you don't want to talk to me anymore, at least we can let bygones be bygones and be done with it. So Aaron decides to go to this park, and he's sitting there at a park bench, and he decides, I'm going to record this for evidence in case anything happens. I have 911 on speed dial, and then he sets up the camera in his car dash, and then he goes down and sits at this bench at this lake. And Aaron is looking at the lake, and then this other person comes in, Joseph, from behind, and he's just staring at him. And then from his jacket pocket, he pulls out the peach fuzz mask. He puts it on. And you're like, okay. And then he takes out an axe. And in broad daylight, whacks him right over the head, splits his head open, and Aaron is dead. And that's the end of Aaron. And then it cuts back, and it's Joseph filming the video of this. He's recording the screen with a video camera. Joseph talks about how he loved Aaron because Aaron always gave him a second chance and always was thinking that there was a possibility that Joseph wasn't a terrible person. And in actuality, he's a psychotic freak. And then we get cut to Joseph walking around with the camera. He gets a phone call and he's on the phone and he's like, hey, this is Bill, or whatever his name is. Oh yeah, no, yeah. All it is 8 hours of your day, and you just come in here, and I'll pay you, and you just record what hang out with me for the day. And as he's doing this, he opens up this cabinet, and there's a whole bunch of tapes all in this cabinet, and then he puts up a little CD that says Aaron with a little heart, and then it closes, and then it shows Creep, and that's the end of the movie. So that is Creep. And yes, Foxy, there is one death because there's only 3 people in this, and we don't know if Angela died or whatever her name is. Yeah, Angela. But we do know that Aaron did. We have video evidence of it. So, one death. Bills win. All right, there you go. Didn't help me much, but great. So, with that said, let's head over to IMDb Corner and take a look at some fun facts and other things. So, again, like I said, kind of a unique movie with the fact it has 3 people in the movie. Let's see here. Let's go to some trivia. Fresh, how's it going? All right, so here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 different trivia facts here. My review of the movie is a 0 out of 10. It doesn't feel horror, like just creepy and weird. Interesting. Wow. That's probably that's a harsh review. But hey, you know what? It's the PT Nation score. You're the only one that watched it, so there you go. Unless, Alana, you actually did watch it, you do know this movie and you want to give it a score, I'd give you the opportunity to score it. So let's take a look at some facts, some trivia. So, number 1, since the movie was based on a series of conversations between Patrick Bryce and Mark Duplass, their characters, I'm assuming is who they're trying to. Most of it was improvised. Interesting. This led to a lot of scenes being shot, and as a result, the footage was screened in front of their peers. This eventually pushed the psychological black comedy into a psychological horror film after taking the advice of their friends. There is also footage of at least 3 other alternate endings. That's kind of interesting. They filmed this in 1 week and only 5-page outlines, which essentially, goes back to the first one. Probably rate it like a 3 or 4 from what I remember. Okay. How about this? Because you didn't watch the full-on movie, I will be willing to dock it to a 3.5. So we'll go with that. Let's see here. And you only know it based off of what you watched as the short, chopped-up version of it. So, Fresh, did you watch it? Fresh, if you watched it, I'll accept your 2. But if you didn't watch it, then I can't accept the 2. The Peach Fuzz mask used is Forum Novelties 59449 Night Wolf mask. So if you want it, there you go. You can get it yourself if you wanted the actual official one. The film is almost totally improvised. The film's Bible was only bare bones, i.e. driving a car while videotaping a dialogue of a trip. Wow. So they literally could write all their stuff on postcard, 3x5 cards. Oh, you have seen it? You did see it? Fresh? Yeah, I cannot sit through a horror movie, but if there's a how to beat video and any of the movies you pick going forward, I'll watch those. Yeah, this one's going to be kind of a hard one to get into because Creep 2, I'm assuming, is probably going to be more or less more of the same. It was dog shit. It was so weird. I didn't pay too much attention. It is a weird movie. Okay. The next one here is let's see, the first of a trilogy of films, of Creep films. Creep 2 was released October 24th, 2017, and the third installation is in development. I did not know that there was a third one coming. So that's kind of interesting. All right. I didn't even know there was a second one until we did this. All right, let's take out some goofs. There is one revealing mistake, one plot hole, and one character error. Oh, and one continuity. So Joseph's weight fluctuates visibly through the film. That's a weird thing. 42 people found that a thumbs down. 18 people found it a thumbs up. 41 people thumbs this up. 62 people thumbs it down. This was a revealing mistake. When Aaron is murdered in the park, we see the axe strike him violently in the head. Even from the distance we see it, there would be a blood spray. There is none. Also, at no time do we see any blood pooling. Yeah, I guess there is a thing too. Plot hole. It's revealing at the end of the film that Joseph is using fake names when hearing the videographers, as he tells the next victim that his name is Bill. However, when his sister calls, she calls him Joseph. It's unlikely that he would have used his real name with Aaron. That is interesting. Interesting. Character error. When Joseph cuts Aaron's hair while he's sleeping, we only see Joseph's arm, and he has dark, hairy arms. However, the actor, Mark, does not have hairy arms. Okay, so we have some person cutting Joseph's hair, or Aaron's hair, and we have no idea who it is. That's kind of weird. Okay, let's take a look at... Let's go to... It was released June 23rd, 2015. Mr. Mark himself, yeah. Maybe it's the guy's dad. The movie's only an hour and 17 minutes, which is really weird. Curious to see it. Yeah. That's pretty much all we got for that. Any other stuff we got? Shot in California. Do we have any taglines? My favorite thing about the entire movie business, but because this is a low budget, it probably doesn't. So there is that. We actually don't even know how much the movie grossed because that is not on IMDb. So, all right. Well, there we go. That is Creep. So I guess let's go into the review process as we go. I am going to, let's see here. So let's see. We have so a 3.5 plus 0 plus 2 divided by 3. That is a 1.8. A 1.8 out of 10 from the PT Nation. Here's the thing about this movie. I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. My official score, Primal Target official score, I am giving it I actually did lower it for a second there. I think I'm going to go back to my original one. I'm going to go to a 5.6. Oh, there's an ad. Well, I'll wrap it up and I'll come back to it. For you YouTube people, you don't have an ad, so I'm just going to go right through this and then I'll repeat it for them. So I'm going to go with a 5.6, and the thing with my thing with a 5.6 is on our scale, that is a meh. That's a meh. It's meh. If you see it, it's okay. Like, yeah, if someone was to ask me, hey, I saw this movie on Netflix. It's called Creep. It looks creepy. Is it creepy? Yeah, I think so. Does it tell a coherent story? Yeah, I think so. Does it really go anywhere? Not really, but it almost gets you and scratches that itch of like, I want to see something that is creepy, that is a thriller, that isn't that bad. Like, if someone is trying to get into more of like a horror or creepy sort of factor, I think this is a good movie to just watch with that person that doesn't want to go to the extreme, but does want to get. They have jump scares. They have a coherent story. They have plot that follows all the way through. There's a twist. There's things that in this movie that make it a relatively okay thriller movie. And that's why it's like, if someone wanted to watch something at a milder taste, I would be like, yeah, all right, yeah. So Alana says, I don't think I could sit through the actual movie because it just seems so quiet and slow. It is a little bit slow in parts. There is quiet moments, but I don't think it is a part where it's like too much. I think if somebody is like, I want to get to a point of being really scared and having me thinking about this movie a long time, this isn't that type of movie. It's not gonna be crazy. Though I think with the two actors in this movie, I think they did a really good job. There's almost times where you feel like it is an actual conversation. And that is kind of how, I mean, going into the IMDb facts, apparently that's what they did. They didn't have much of a structure of a script. They just kind of went for it. They just shot the movie. And you do get that vibe sometimes where it just seems like it's a normal conversation and that there isn't much going on. So for that, that's why I say 5.6. It's meh. It's okay. It's a moderately okay thriller. If, like I said, you're with somebody that isn't really into the extreme horror or extreme thriller, like, you're not going to throw Annabelle on that somebody was like, I want to watch something spooky, but I don't want to get, like, the shit scared out of me, then, yeah, then don't show them Annabelle. Like, you work your way into Annabelle. This movie, I think it's creepy enough. It has that factor, and that's why I give it a 5.6. We should do Terrifier. I have heard of Terrifier. I have not. I've watched the first one a little bit, but we'll have to circle back around that as we finish up this season. Maybe we'll come back to Terrifier for another season for something. I don't know. We'll throw horror movies in there at some point again. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm gonna give it. 5.6 is the official Primal Target score. A 1.8 is the official PT Nation score. If you guys want to come and review the movie alongside us, make sure you tune in at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on twitch.tv/primal_target. And you guys can talk with us in the chat, like Alana, Foxy, Fresh, and everybody else. Preacher's here, I think, at some point. I think he popped in too. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me here tonight. If you guys want to watch the next episode, you're probably watching this on Sunday, and that means you can tune in on Monday and watch with us live. So, the next one is, guess what? The sequel to this movie, Creep 2, which is available on Netflix. You guys can watch that, be a part of the show next week, and I will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
I am your father.
Dun.
Okay, and then we don't want to get copy strikes, so we're just going to stop it right there. But there's it.
Yeah,
But
that's the ringtone portion.
Yeah, you know the rest of it. Luke goes, no, that's
Can't
not
be.
true. That's impossible. And then, yeah. So